Hi everyone, Marty here. I thought I would come on today and share a little tutorial with you. First let me show you this stamp set I just got. See if we can get it to focus, maybe. Look at that, little mice with hot cocoa, little marshmallows. Oh my goodness, is that not the cutest thing ever or what? That is so cute. It's your next stamp, and it's called Hot Cocoa Hugs. I got that from Jamie's Not Too Shabby shop. Isn't that cute? Anyway, this is what I'm going to show you how to make today. It's kind of a vintage style little snowman ornament. Very easy to make. Very easy to make. And I think the one I'm trying to scoot my chair up. I think the one today I'm going to make will have red mittens instead of green. But I'll give you a little closer look here. And I don't like the mouth. I want the mouth thinner. Hope he's focusing enough. So there he is. Okay, so what you need, I buy these smooth foam styrofoam balls. I got these, I believe it was at Joann's. I've had them for a while, so I'm not real sure, but I think it was Joann's that I got them for. And I'll be using a 1.5 inch ball. That's for the head. Sorry about the crinkling. And also a 2 inch ball. Again, with the smooth foam. Ready for the crinkling. Okay, and as most of these styrofoam balls, well, some of them do. I don't know if you can tell, this one has a ridge. See that little ridge around the center of it? I don't like that, so what I do is I take a file, nail file, and I just go around that. You can take a little piece of sandpaper. I just kind of smooth that out a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, especially if you're going to add glitter. I didn't add glitter to mine, but it's because I used a marker, and I think usually whenever I use a marker, things smear and blob and everything. So on my next one, I want to use paint to do the face and everything, so I can add some glitter onto him. But let me finish this real quick here. Probably should have done this off camera, sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of quiet today. Okay, there's that one. And then I do the same thing with the head. It's got a, I don't know if you can tell, it's got a ridge around it too. Yeah, there. You want to knock that down. If you want to get real crazy with your the look of yours, you could take Snowman and completely. Ooh, it got fuzzy, didn't it? Ooh. Sorry about that. I look more at what I'm doing rather than the camera, so I don't always catch when it's out of focus or I'm off camera or something's wrong. But I was saying, if you want to get real crazy, you could just really sand this down perfectly smooth. But I want mine to look more battered and vintage and all that. Yeah, I should have done this off the camera, sorry. I could stand to go some more, but to save time, I'm going to go with it as that. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the hat. This little, simple little hat right here. That's what we're going to make. And you start out with a piece of cardstock that is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. and then you score it down both long sides at 1/4 of an inch. You score it and then you flip it because you want them going in opposite directions. And I don't know if you can tell, but this one is a damask, has a damask design on it. You need a pretty, a fairly substantial piece of cardstock. You don't want something that's so flimsy it's just going to fall apart in your hands. So anyway, that's what you start with. And you'll also need a 1-inch punch and a 2-inch punch. Let me get my cardstock here. What you do first is you punch your 1-inch punch kind of close to the edge, so you can maybe wanting to punch your other one. Save that circle because you'll use that. And then you take your 2-inch punch and you go in, and I have to have this towards me so I can see, so I can get it a little closer. It takes me a few minutes to get it centered, but you want to center that. Might not even be centered, but you call it centered. And you want to do that twice. So we'll take our 1-inch punch and then our 2-inch punch. And excuse me again while I center it. Okay. So there's that. Ooh, sorry, that was probably pretty loud, wasn't it? Sorry about that. Okay, so now what I do is I take my, this is going to be the top part of the hat, and the damask side is what the side I want out. So I'm going to start curling this, and you could curl it on the edge of your table, or you can take a paintbrush handle and curve it around like that. Just whatever way gets it curved. And this particular paper tends to wrinkle or crease, so mine is kind of, yeah, see how I just barely even curved it and it's already creasing. I don't really care for that, but it's the way the paper was, and the only other black paper I had was really thin. And you could always do it out of cardstock and paint it, I guess, but I mean chipboard and paint it, or I guess you could even paint cardstock. But anyway, there's our curve. And what I do is I curl it up into a ball, and there may be easier ways to do this, but this is just the way I do it. Okay, I curl it up. Can you see that? It's probably not. There, get my finger out of there. Okay, there. See, I curl it up, and then I put it through the hole of the brim like that. And then I spread it out as far as it will go inside that brim. Let's see if I can. Okay, I don't know if you can tell or not. Probably not. But it fills the entire circle. And then what I do is I take my scissors. Where did they go? And I snip right at where that edge is. It's going to be so hard to see this because this is black, and it's really hard to see black stuff on this camera. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell. If I could get it in camera, maybe. Okay, see where it overlaps there? It's kind of crooked now. I'll bring it down to my face and straighten it up. But right at that overlap is where you want to snip, just in that 1/4 inch area. I'm going to do that real quick here. Let me get it straightened back up. Okay. And let me do it, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. You do it on one side, and then you push it over and do it onto the other side too. And the reason that you score one side, flip it, and score the other is because one way is going out and one way is going in. You'll see that in a minute too. I probably should have done an example of this on a lighter paper, but let me get this real quick and then I'll show you. Okay, let me snip that one real quick. Okay, now I take this off, and I don't know if you can tell, but see right here, that's where I've snipped. That gives me a reference. Can you see that? Doesn't even look like it's snipped. Yeah, there we go. I'm sorry, this is going to be a horrible video, but That's where you snip. And the reason I do that is that gives me a reference as to where this overlaps to. I'm going to be lining this overlap up with those slits. So that's what I want to do next, is I want to put adhesive on this. And the way I do it is I take some score tape and I put it on the underside of the part that overlaps. This will be the underside and this will overlap on top. I want to put my score tape on the underside here, approximately where it will line up with that line. I don't have it marked here, but I just kind of eyeball it. So I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. And it's really not going to hurt too bad if you get over the line, because the adhesive will be inside your hat and nobody's going to be going inside your hat. Goodness. Oh, that didn't want to come apart there. Okay, so you see I've got my little score tape, and you don't really need to go out to the edges. Okay, so we adhere that down real good. Take that adhesive off. And then we're going to overlap that, line it up with the slits, this edge here with the slits, and then we're going to adhere that down. Now this flap here is going to be loose. The edge here is going to be loose, and that's what we want. But we're going to line that up. Let me get it towards my face so I can see. Okay, don't slide. Don't slide. Okay. So, now, there is our edge sticking up. There's the slits where we lined it up. Now what I do is I go back in and I put some glue in there. And I go all the way across to the tabs because that's going to need glue down anyway. But I take my glue and hopefully it's unclogged. Yes. Okay. Get some glue in there. This is just the easiest way I've found to do it. I'm sure there may be some simple, extremely simple way to do it, and I'm just doing it the hard way or something. I don't know, but this is the way I do it. Okay, now see, I've put glue all into that. Now what I want to do is I want to close that up, wipe off the excess glue. I love this glue because it wipes off so easily. I'm going to put my lid back on so it won't clog. And I just hold that for a few seconds. Usually down on a table where I can put some pressure on it. And get that glued real nice. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go all the way around this edge and all the way around this edge on that 1/4 inch, up to the 1/4 inch where you scored it. Get it to there, the 1/4 inch. We're going to cut slits in that at about 1/4 inch intervals. You're not going to be able to see, so I'll just do it and then show you. So let me do that real quick. I'm not going to do the entire hat on video because I have one already made, but I'm going to give you the good steps to, to get you there. Okay, I did that side. Now I'm coming over to this side. I wish I had a better camera view for you. I'm sorry. I hope you can see well enough. If I zoom in, it doesn't seem to focus as well for some reason. So I keep it zoomed out and then raise up my hand to the camera so you can see. I hope that's alright. That's about the best I can do on it. Okay, so now one is going to go, got to see where my creases are. Okay, one's going to go in, this side's going to go in, and this side's going to go out. See, these are going to go out, these are going to fold in. Okay, what you're going to do next is you're going to take one of your brim pieces, you're going to slide it over your little tube that you made, and it may be a kind of a snug fit, but you're going to push it all the way down. Okay, now see, I've got the little end sticking out there. What I do is I put glue all the way around. Let's see if I can do this here. All the way around the brim part, right next to that tube. Okay, see, I put glue all the way around the brim part. Now I fold these little pieces down, and then I set it down on a table, preferably a non-stick one, and I push those down so that those little tabs will adhere to the brim. And here's another view of the little hat we're making. I know it's probably not focusing very well because I only have one hand to show you, but okay, so then you will have a couple of tabs that are still sticking up, or like at the overlap part. You just take some glue and put it under those tabs and glue those down too. Okay. Get those all glued down. Okay, now hopefully you can see the tabs are all glued down to the brim. Now what we do is we just take some more glue, put on there, and put our second piece over that to cover those tabs. So that finishes off the bottom. Okay, I'm not going to do that because it'll save time. Then on the top, all you do is you just push down all these little pieces here. Get those all pushed down. Put some glue all over that. Make sure you get it out to the edges, because that's really important that you get all the way out to the edges, especially whenever you're doing the brim too. Make sure you get glue all the way out to the edges. Otherwise you'll have separation and it will look funny. But you put glue all the way across the top of this, and then you put your little 1-inch circle on top of that. And what I do is I turn it over and push it down on the table to hold it so it'll glue down. Once that's glue, I put a second layer of glue and put the second 1-inch circle down on that, just for a little reinforcement. So that's how we make the hat. Okay. Here's one that I have made already. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to take a needle. I have this big long one. I think they call these doll needles or something like that, but this, you know, use what you got. Use an ice pick, use your Tim Holtz thing or whatever. But I go and I poke a hole. Sorry, you have to get it close to me. You don't want your hole too humongous. And while I'm thinking about it, I need to plug in my glue gun. Forgot about that. Okay, poking a hole in the center of my hat, center of the top of my hat. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of string. I'm using baker's twine. I did not measure it, I just eyeballed it. However long you want your hanger to be. And I just tie a double knot in the bottom. And how I tie a double knot is I just tie it like I would tie a regular knot. Let's see if I can do this in camera. Okay, there's a regular knot. And then I just take the ends and go one more time around through the center of the loop. I don't know if that's called a double knot, but that's what I'm referencing it as. You want a big knot down there that's not going to pull through the hole you just made. So there's my knot. And what I do next, you could use a small crochet hook or something like that, but I just thread my folded end into the needle, eye of the needle, because I have a big enough eye on my needle. I don't know how well that's focusing, but see, here's the knot end down here. This is the folded end that I pushed through the eye of the needle. Now I'm going to take that long needle and go up through that hat, through the inside of the hat, and hope I can find that hole with the needle. Okay, now see, I'm coming out the top, and it's going to be a little snug pulling through there, but just be gentle with it and just ease it through the hole. It's going to take a few seconds to get it pulled through. Okay, there, see, it's pulling through. I take my needle out, and it holds really well as is if you don't make your hole too big. But what I do is I go in and drop some hot glue in there to reinforce and secure that. Okay, the other thing we're going to do for our hat is I took a pipe cleaner, a silver pipe cleaner, which I don't really have over here with me. Why don't I have that? Oh, hang on. Okay, here's my, oh, hang on, I forgot something else. Let's see if I can find something. Oh, I don't have one handy. Well, we'll just pretend. Okay, here is our hat pipe cleaner. All I do is just wind it. I start by putting a little bit of glue at the back seam, glue down the end, and then I wind it around twice, putting a little glue here and there as I go around, and then snip off the excess, and that gives me the little band there around the hat. And then that little holly thing is just a little resin piece that I glued on there. I don't have another one handy here I'd show you, but anyway, that is the hat. That's how we do the hat. Okay, now let's move on to the legs. Let me close my bottle up here real quick. Okay, next, the legs. The legs look really simple. They're made out of pipe cleaners, but they're double layered, kind of, sort of. And I'll show you how I made those. I started with a white pipe cleaner, and I measured 4 inches. You don't have to measure, but I'm just, I guess, weird like that. So there's my 4 inches. And with the black pipe cleaner, chenille stem, whatever you call them, I bend it at a 2-inch. Now you'll be maneuvering these around and snipping them off and things like that. So this is not going to be exact. But what you do, or what I did, is I take these 2 bends and I interlock them. And I fold those that way and these this way. Okay, so that joins those 2 together. So that's how you get the 2-tone. To make the foot, this short piece is going to be stationary. The long piece is what we're going to wrap around the short piece. And I start kind of up here in the joint onto the white part. Let's see if I can zoom in and see if it will focus enough for us, because it's so hard to show you from way down there. Okay, maybe that will work for us. Okay, here's the 2 pipe cleaners, and this is the long stem. Now we're going to wrap this around, and I work, like I said, I work it up here on the white just a little tiny bit, just to give that some support there, because it's, you know, a joint in the 2. I just cover that a little bit, and then I start working down, and I don't do it really tight. I just kind of wind it around and down, and it doesn't have to be just so tight and next to each other. You just wind down about halfway, and then you take your excess down here and you fold it in half over like that. Okay, and then you continue wrapping, and you want to wrap the tip down here a little bit more, because you want that to be like your the toes, or the toe part of your shoes. I don't know if you can tell a difference here on the actual snowman, but we're going to wrap. Let's see, which way was I going? I was going that way. Okay, I wrap a couple of times on the toe area, and then I just work down the foot. Something stuck in there, some lint. Okay, now you could get crazy and use your entire pipe cleaner and make like a cuff on your boot or something like that. I just continue wrapping till it's gone. It's just easier for me that way, rather than trying to snip it off. And then I take my pliers, which I don't have out. And that part that I just ended with kind of sticks up a little bit, you know, you feel that little poke of the wire. I just kind of use my pliers and just work it around and squish everything down so it's kind of a little more solid. You don't have to get crazy with it, smashing it down to nothing. You just kind of shape your little foot. Okay, and then you can bend it up into the shape once we get done. Now we're going to do the same basic thing here on the leg part. And my legs ended up, the white part of my legs are approximately 2 inches before they go into the ball, into the styrofoam ball. And I poked them into the ball maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. I didn't really check that, but you want to wrap your chenille stem about 2 inches on this part. And again, you take the long one and go around the short one. And again, you don't do it tight, you just kind of meander up your chenille stem just like that. You just go up for about 2 inches or whatever looks good to you. You could have longer legs or shorter legs. You know, it's entirely up to you what you want. But that looks about, that's approximately 2 inches. And then if I have excess up here, I just wind it around the very top there. And again, I take my pliers and push down that part, that little pokey wire that sticks up there, so it won't be poking anybody. Okay, so there's one leg, and then I can just bend up my little foot here like that. And that will give me my foot and my leg. Now, if you wanted to, you could go crazy and add, if you don't like the pipe cleaner look, you could take some of that paper mache or gauze stuff, you know, paper clay, wrap around that and add some thickness to your legs or arms or whatever you wanted to do. You could go crazy and, you know, add anything that you wanted to if you don't like just the plain pipe cleaners. But that's how we do the legs, and you do the arms basically just pretty much exactly the same, only, you know, you would use a different color for the mitt. You wouldn't use, unless you wanted black, but I think on my next one I'm going to do red, but I'm not going to show you all that because it's the same thing as the leg, and this video would be extremely long, which is already long. So anyway, next, take your styrofoam ball, the big one. What I did was I used a pencil. I tried pokey tools, I tried an awl, I tried other things, and they didn't make the hole the way I wanted it to. So what I do is I go, there's this hole in your ball right there, and I usually point that up towards the head so it won't be showing. So down here where this other deformed area, look right there, I just go over about 1/4 inch, and I try to keep it kind of even with the ball. See, I'm going in, see, here's the center of the ball, right where my finger is and where the pencil is. I want to go in kind of at that same angle, only 1/4 inch over from that center thing. And there's no rocket science to it. I just did it like this. I just crammed my pencil into the ball like that. Then I put some hot glue in the hole, bent this down where it was a little bit shorter, put the hot glue in, stick the leg in, and that's all I did. Very simple. For the head, to attach the head, what I did was I took a bamboo skewer, which I can show you an example here of a small one. So kind of watch what you're getting if you're out buying them. If you already have them, use what you got. But see, there's a real skinny one and a little bit fatter one. I used the little fatter one. And all I did was I poked it into the hole that was already in the ball. like that. And then I kind of sized up my head on there. I want a little bit of a neck, like 1/4 of an inch. So I kind of sized up where I wanted to cut it. And I took my little cutty things and just snipped it off. And then I put, like I said, I put hot glue down there, put the stick in, hot glue up here, and there's a hole in this ball as well. You put the two together and that gives you a neck there. Okay, so here's what we have right now. Okay, the next thing to do is add the little collar thing. And all that is some crepe paper. I used some of this vintage. As you can see, it is kind of yellowed and stained over the years, I guess from the environment. But I took off, this one here has 3 layers. How fluffy that one is. That one is 3 layers, and I took 10-inch pieces. So you just cut off 3 10-inch pieces, layer them on top of each other. For this next one that I did, I took 2. I just did 2 layers. But what you do, basically, I'll just show you real quick. We'll just pretend these are 10-inch pieces. I'm not measuring them. Okay, you just lay them on top of each other. Stack them up like that, however many layers you want. And then you take your needle and just some regular, thread that's strong enough that you can pull around on it and not going to break on you. Just thread up your needle with some thread, and you're going to take your needle and you're just going to weave maybe 1/4 of an inch or so. If you feel like you need it perfect, you can draw you a line down the center with a pencil, but I just do it by hand. It doesn't bother me if it's off. And all you do is you're just going to weave down this whole thing like that and pull it through, and you're going to gather it up, and then you're going to fluff out both sides. But you're going to fold it in half, because once you've got it threaded with your thread, you fold it in half like that, and then you fluff out these parts here. And here's the one I did earlier that is 2 layers. And you can see where I've just gathered up. Now this takes the most time, I think. Gathering it up, fluffing it out, getting it folded, getting it looking right. Now there may be an easier way. It may be easier just to take it like this, fold it in half, and then gather it up. That may be an easier solution. It might gather or open a little easier. I don't know. I didn't try that. I showed you what I tried. So you just gather that up and you put it around the neck of your snowman. I pulled the strings and tied them in a knot, but not so much that it would break. And then I went back and I took my glue gun and put some glue down in there and just, scrunched it in there so it would stay nicely. And then the next thing you do, I just took some little pieces of that silver pipe cleaner and made some little circles. These aren't even glued on, these are just loose on there. I just wrapped it around the leg a couple of times, and that made the top of the boot there. For these little dots down the front here, I used a dimensional fabric paint. I glued a little tree in the hand there. I just curved the hand to where it would look like it's holding the tree. For the face, for this nose, I used one of these right here. I don't even know if they have a name. These came from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. Let's see if it's called Red Holly Berries. And you just snip one off with, just take one and leave you a little bit of a stem on it there, like, enough to poke down into the styrofoam like that. And I pre-poked the hole. I didn't try poking this into the styrofoam because that styrofoam is really dense. So I took a really thin needle and poked in there first, and then put my nose in there, and I glued it in. But you want very little glue on that. And then for the eyes and the mouth, I just used markers. But like I said, on my second one, I think I'm gonna try and use paint. because I want to be able to put Mod Podge or glue or something on there so I can add some glitter. And I have found in the past that when you use certain kind of markers and you put that Mod Podge over it, it bleeds, and I don't want that. So he's not getting glitter, but my next one will. But anyway, that's it. That's how simple it is to make these. And you can doll them up and dress them up any kind of way you want to. You could have them, these little arms out like this, and have him holding a little banner that says something, Noel or Joy or Merry Christmas, or even a person's name if you wanted to. You could add some texture to the hat to make it, you know, a little bit more sturdy if you wanted to. It's pretty sturdy the way it is, but again, you might want to wrap the legs with something to make them a little more substantial, or if you didn't like the pipe cleaner look, you could, you know, paper mache around them or something. There's so many options that you could do. Even with, instead of this little fluffy collar here, you could put like a bow, a big pretty bow right here at his neck. But that's it. That's my tutorial for today for my little vintage style snowman. Hope you've enjoyed this. Today is my birthday, so happy birthday to me, and this is a gift to you, a tutorial. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care until next time. Yeah, for now.